Live in Western Oregon, this is NBC 16 Today.
Good morning and welcome to NBC 16 Today. I'm Lily Taylor. Before we get to our top stories of the morning, let's check in with Brianna Chavez, who has a look at our weather.
Heading into the next couple of hours, rain really expected to make a return to the forecast. Already starting to see some scattered showers throughout the southern Willamette Valley, expecting a delayed start out over into Douglas County and even Coos County as a whole. But we see the mixture of some wet weather for some areas, some slightly cooler but also slightly warmer temperatures across the I-5 and our coastline. So definitely something to keep in mind as you head out the door throughout that early morning commute. Even could run into some patchy fog for some areas across the I-5. But overall, through the remainder of the day, let's just say if you're looking to head out and maybe take your furry friend out for a walk, well, while the conditions may be a little bit warmer, we are definitely seeing the wet weather make a return, catching a little bit of relief heading into your Friday morning, but not done with the rain coming up in that full forecast. We'll take a look at when that rain is expected to pick up and how much is headed our way.
Thank you, Bree. We now take you live to our live shop buddy who's looking what traffic is looking like this morning for us. We're starting our coverage this morning in North Eugene, parked alongside Interstate 5 at the Beltline exit. We're looking southbound on the freeway. I'm going to call that some medium traffic there. A lot of people heading to work, I'm sure. Luckily, those roadways aren't too wet yet. LSB reporting some dry road surfaces as it's kind of just sprinkling out there, although I'm going to tattletale on him. I did see him have an umbrella just a few minutes ago, so LSB's battling those raindrops out there, but on the roadways, you won't really have too much of an issue. Still a little bit chilly outside. You're going to want to turn that heater on if you have a few extra minutes. Other than that, you don't have to worry about any accidents or delays to report. So there's nothing to slow your morning commute down. Should be a pretty thumbs up kind of day on those Oregon roadways. Thank you, LSB, for that check-in. As the conversation around the use of flock cameras continue, Eugene police are trying to get the automated license plate reading cameras operational again within the city. And to do so, they're aiming to change the policies currently in place, including which law enforcement agencies have access to the data these cameras collect. Now, after a police commissioning meeting on November 13th, Chief Chris Skinner expressed frustration over the restrictions put on the cameras.
I think part of what my hope was with this group is to get a good sense of how strict you want this to be. If ALPR technology is an important tool for your police department to fight crime, then weighing the pros and the cons and the vulnerabilities and the community sentiment, is there a level of restrictiveness that we could take this down to that still puts some measure of the tool in our hands to do the work that we need to do without it feeling too broad?
The flock cameras remain deactivated. Originally, data from the flock cameras was available to agencies nationwide before being limited to Oregon agencies. And with the new policy, that information is available to just those in Lane County. In addition, the new policies forbid tracking data from the cameras involving vehicles traveling to or from healthcare facilities, including abortion clinics. We reached out to the Eugene Police Department. They declined to comment ahead of the Eugene City Council meeting, which will be held on December 8th. That's where we hope to have more clarity on how the flock cameras can be used. And of course, we'll bring those updates to you after that meeting. Meanwhile, a federal judge in Eugene orders a suspect in the burglaries that targeted the Asian American community remain in federal custody. 34-year-old Darrenson Martinez Grandes is one of 7 suspects accused of targeting Asian households in Washington and Oregon. A third hearing took place yesterday at Eugene's federal courthouse. NBC 16's Tiffany Lewis was in the courthouse yesterday afternoon and has this report.
More than 30 community members attended Wednesday's hearing where federal district court judge Michael McShane ruled that 34-year-old Darrenson Martinez Grandes does pose a serious flight risk, and there are no conditions that would guarantee his appearance in court later on in this case. The federal prosecutor argued he has both the ability and the incentive to flee. He could be facing over 5 years in federal prison and additional Lane County charges as well. Martinez says he was just a driver for the alleged burglars and booked their Airbnbs. Prosecutors say they don't believe this story or the claim that he was not aware of the burglaries, which the judge called brazen and sophisticated. I spoke to a woman after the hearing about her reaction to the judge's decision.
But no, I was so glad that the judge detained the guy because it's just a scary thing to have a threat like that in the community. I haven't lost sleep over it, but well, maybe I did, because I went down the rabbit hole of looking and studying security systems and how it can be jammed and what we can do to protect ourselves.
Federal District Court Judge Michael McShane's ruling reversed Magistrate Judge Potter's ruling 2 weeks ago, who initially granted Martinez bail. Now, there's no court date set yet for Martinez or the other alleged suspects in this international crime ring that's responsible for at least 22 burglaries targeting Asian residents in Eugene over the past 2 years. In Eugene, I'm Tiffany Lewis reporting.
Covering the nation now, the Trump administration clamping down on immigration from 19 countries following the shooting of 2 National Guardsmen last week. One of the countries listed, Somalia, has been the target of disparaging comments from the president over the last week as Minnesota braces for ICE operations targeting Somali immigrants. National correspondent Matt Galka has this report.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement launched an operation reportedly targeting Somali nationals in the Minneapolis-St. Paul region of Minnesota Wednesday. The new enforcement coming after the president ripped into the Somali community.
I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks. And we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too.
Minnesota is home to the largest Somali community in the country, and the Trump administration is investigating a $1 billion fraud claim in the state where public assistance tax dollars have allegedly been funneled to terrorist organizations based in Somalia. Trump targeted Somali-American Congresswoman Ilhan Omar in his rant.
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage.
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic.
Minnesota Governor Tim Walz says he welcomes the investigation into the potential fraud from his state, but slammed the targeting of one community.
My message is simple on this. You commit fraud in Minnesota, you're going to prison. I don't care what color you are, what religion you are. Sitting on the sidelines and throwing out accusations, and let's be very clear, demonizing an entire population and lying to people about the safety and security of this state is beneath that.
Republicans have increasingly blamed Walz for the fraud scandal.
Tim Walz refuses to take accountability for the fraud he created and enabled. President Trump is committed to justice for the crimes against the taxpayers of Minnesota.
Critics say the ICE crackdown on the Somali community is a waste of time and money because the overwhelming majority of Somalis living in Minnesota are naturalized U.S. citizens, according to census data. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
Now, a little closer to home, Catholic Community Services Refugee and Immigrant Services Program says it's seeing setbacks with its clients following the immigration ban. The program provides legal support to those seeking refugee and legal status, which has become increasingly difficult with the process being paused indefinitely for its clients.
And so they've come here, come to the United States, come to America looking for safety, and to have this this uncertainty about whether they're going to be allowed to stay is an incredible stressful burden. I tell our clients that we still have hope for their case. We don't have hope that it's going to happen quickly, but we do think eventually these applications will be processed and approved.
Despite the ban, CCS says people are still applying for asylum to meet certain deadlines for the process. 70 years ago, the McKenzie-Willamette Hospital opened its doors with 35 beds and 40 staff members. And on Wednesday, the McKenzie-Willamette Medical Center celebrated how the healthcare hub for Springfield has grown.
And let's give a big toast to McKenzie-Willamette Medical Center. Cheers. Cheers.
Springfield Mayor Sean Van Gordon was on hand for the commemoration, which featured newspaper clippings and a display of photos from the hospital's origins as a community-led project in 1949 to the grand opening 6 years later. And since those early days, the center has expanded to 113 beds, 900 employees, and more than 550 medical staff, representing close to 40 different specialties.